Good day, strategy gamers, and welcome back to episode 5 of our Let's Play series, Rule the Waves 3, as the 1890 Japan scenario. We enter this episode on the heels of, I don't want to say the shortest war I've ever experienced in Rule the Waves series, but it definitely ranks up there in terms of longevity. And that was with China. Very exciting episode last turn. A lot of action in the brief time that we were recovering it. And we now find ourselves, although the peace settlement was rather of draw-like nature, neither side really winning thanks to European mediation. We are not favorable to that. We're not happy about that outcome, I should say, because we were looking at maybe gaining some territory. As a result of that, we find our nation in a pretty dire situation, almost as if we had lost the war. And what I mean by that largely is by our annual budget, which took a 33% hit at the end of that war. And we were already in a pretty tough spot before the war began. But now you can see we're at this $97,000 for naval budget annually. It is the lowest of all nations. We also see that we are the only nation with technology development in the behind status. And although we've maxed out contribution to research from our budget, the research contribution, it's important to remember, is a percentage of your annual budget. So let's use some simpler numbers here. If our budget is $100,000 a year, which is pretty close to what it's at, and if we had a 10% research budget, it means we spent $10,000 every year on research. Great Britain, if they have a $300,000 budget, which is actually lower than what they have, and if they spent 10% of their budget on research, simplistic math here, they've then spent $30,000 during the year on research, which means they've had 3 times the opportunity for technology advancement as we have. So we're just not sitting in a great spot. The other thing when it comes to the budget is our fleet already started out quite small. We look now here at fleet tonnage. We are 1/7 the size of, say, Great Britain. But even some of these other powers that we might run into, say France or Russia, we have about 100,000 tons in our fleet. Russia has 2.5 times our total fleet tonnage just in battleships. They have our same fleet tonnage in heavy cruisers, our same fleet tonnage in light cruisers. It's a really worrying situation that we find ourselves in here. And we're just going to have to take every possible event that we can to try to grow our budget, even at the expense of another war. Now, most of the European powers were going to want to at all costs stay away from a war because we would not fare well against the navies of, say, France, Great Britain, or Germany. Italy, I just don't think would even happen. If it did happen, I think we might actually be okay, given just they don't have any basing in the Pacific, and that would pose a really difficult challenge for them then. Russia would be tough. The USA we could probably handle, actually, although the amount that they're building is very concerning. In Spain, I think would also be manageable. Of course, China too. So strategy here for this episode is grow the budget, and to do that, we're going to try to beat the drums of war a little bit. We're going to change our intel level on China to high, and I think we'll change our intel level on Spain to high. Russia, we will keep it low for now. We do want tensions there, but I don't want to necessarily have the next war be with Russia. Recall, mere 2 episodes ago, they were our ally. However, they backed out of our alliance during the war with China. So that's not great. We have the second ship in the Fuso class being delivered here this next month, so that's a positive. We're running a very heavy deficit, but that will be helped when this ship commissions. And we also have dock size increases finishing next month too. So let's go ahead to the next month and see what we get. So the docks are completed and the Yashima is commissioned into the Navy. We've made unexpected advances in ship design. Well, that's actually some pleasant news. So we have design calculations, which saves us 1% on hull. That may not seem like much, but over all of these years that this game lasts, these 1% savings here and there start to add up to some pretty serious numbers in terms of displacement. Looks like we had delays with the Zumo. I feel like we've had those in recent turns as well, so that's a little frustrating. And the US has built a number of cruisers, it would seem. So our deficit now is at $1,000, which is not as bad as the gloomy 4,000 we were at previously. Of course, we are not increasing our docks any longer. I want to see, we're actually coastal fortifications building in Hokkaido, as I noticed that we had nothing there during the war, and that was a mistake on my part. So in 2 months, we're going to have about 800 more funds per month. So I think what we'll do is when those finish, we'll look at, again, commissioning an increase in our dock size. Dock size is, again, one of our longer term strategic priorities, because when we look at what would be a good way to maybe look at this, let's look at the almanac, and if we go through to these different nations, you see Germany's dock sizes are 12,000, Great Britain at 15, France at 14, Russia at 12,000. The US is actually a little behind here at 10,000. Italy at 15,000. Spain, they're actually below us. China's below us as well. But we're unable to produce, say, our own battleships to the level of expectation we would like in our own domestic docks. And we really don't want to be reliant upon foreign powers for our capital ship production. So let's go ahead. Well, actually, before we go next month, let's assign a commander to the Yashima. And we have 2 above average captains. They are both currently assigned to existing battleships, which means we could take an average captain, or we risk rolling the dice with an unknown ability captain. Let's play it a little safe. We're just going to take this average captain and put him in charge of the Yashima. And then we will also add them to the 2nd Battle Division, which is the flagship with the Fuso. And next month, our doctrine training has finally been applied, so we're proficient in gunnery, which was a focus we had set. Okay. So, we had a collision with a ship of Spain. Not going to take the prestige hit. We are going to take the tension hit, though. So that's good. We'll go another turn here. And we finished the construction of the batteries on Hokkaido. Been an altercation in the mess. Oh, this looks like a new type of event I haven't seen yet in Blue Waves 3. So we have a commander in the altercation who's below average. They complain that the ship's band of the Zumi can only play opera and not marches, And as a result, another commander called him an uncultured martinet. My goodness, such language. So Commander Takashima, who is the below average commander, threatens to transfer to the army. And the other commander, Fushida, wants to accept a post at the State Opera Administration. What is it with our Japanese fleet and their obsession with the opera? This is getting quite absurd. So I would really kind of love to get this below average commander out of the active fleet without actually taking a prestige hit. So here they might lose an ability level, so that's not preferable. And we could have Takashima resign to the army. Or Fushida could go to the opera. We're going to let Takashima resign to the army, and he can be their problem. So it looks like the French have unlocked 11-inch guns, something that we actually had unlocked a couple of months ago. So they're staying in parity. So where was Captain Takashima? I guess he wasn't actually assigned to an active ship in the fleet. I thought it was the commander here. I should have looked at the name in the commanding officer list. I was thinking it was the guy in charge of the Tokiwa, but that is a different commander of below average ability. Now, ships under construction, we have 2 heavy cruisers finishing in 5 and 6 months. And we do currently have 2 heavy cruisers that have halted production. If we build new docks, I think we're going to wait one more turn and then we're going to build new docks. 1 more month here. This was actually very helpful. So sometimes our own economy will just have natural growth and that may increase our dock size. And that looks like that's what happened here. So that's actually a great help. The Oshima is finished working up. And we continue to have failures in researching the YST engine. British are facing a rebellion in Singapore. We'll see if they're able to handle that mess. And so tensions increase with Russia and China this turn. Sounds good. Well, not good, but it appears to have happened. We'll go ahead and commission building of new docks. 15 months costing about $1,000 a month. Go to the next month. Let's see. So Russia has a new battleship with belt armor of 11.5 inches. And they have a heavy cruiser, the Oleg. And it's supposed to carry 7-inch main guns. So we can actually then kind of outgun that. That's nice to hear. Let's continue forward. There's been a rebellion in the German possession of Bismarck Archipelago. What do you recommend? So we can support them, which makes the rebellion last longer and has a higher chance of success against Germany. We can just abstain from any involvement. And we could also try to help Germany root out the rebels. I want to say this has a slight budget hit depending on which of these two that we do. I can't recall. But we can either decrease or increase tension with Germany. Now, there's no budget implications to any of these decisions. We're actually very low with our tension of Germany. I think what I would like to do is view all relations and see, does Germany have any enemies? Oh, wow. Okay, so Germany is just kind of friends to everyone. It's a little interesting. I think we're going to try to lower tensions with Germany in the hopes that maybe we can secure a security agreement with them. All right. Another commander of average abilities. China is experiencing financial difficulties. That's wonderful news. It's very, very good news for us. Next month here, the U.S. government is offering to sell us the rights to machinery development YST engines. Oh my goodness, we can... Oh. We have to buy it. We're so far behind from a technologies perspective. So it looks like Germany crushed the rebels. That's good. We are now at a negative balance. So we are going to have to put this Fuso class on hold. And this will then bring us positive. I worry, though, that we're actually going to get a prestige hit for having gone negative. We'll see if we get dinged for that. Oh, we might be okay. Oh, wonderful. So we've now researched destroyers, and we can build up to a 300-ton destroyer and torpedo warfare. That's very good news. That's definitely a strength that we saw with the national characteristics starting this game as Japan with torpedo warfare and destroyers. So we want to have an emphasis on having having our fleet very proficient in torpedo tactics and building a number of torpedo boats as a result of that. Have a commander of a below average ability uncovered, so that's not great. And it looks like an adversary has stolen some secrets from us, so probably a technology. We did not take a prestige hit for being negative, so that's some good news for us. And we're going to have 2 ships here finish next month, and then we can resume construction on some of these others that we have in the queue. Before that, though, let's look at research. And we now see torpedo technology here and light forces. So we're going to set both of these to medium, I think. I don't want to do high because I want to continue focusing on naval guns. And I do think actually ship design, we might do medium. Yes, we'll do medium for ship design now that we've actually unlocked something there. Paying a little bit more attention to that than I would otherwise, largely driven by the fact that we're behind. Still behind. We've also dragged China to behind status as well, though, so at least we have company. Next month, let's see what it holds for us. So the Azuma is commissioned. And North Korea, ooh, if we send an expeditionary force to restore order, we may take it over as a colony. Oh, I think we have to try to take North Korea. Yes, so we have taken North Korea under our administration, although that greatly increased tensions with Russia. So we have to be a little mindful of that now that war with Russia may be coming sooner than later. Ships under construction, we're going to go back and we're going to resume construction of our 3rd battleship of the Fuso class that was designed in Great Britain. And with our new heavy cruiser Azuma, I want to assign a commander. And we don't have any above average available, but we do have average available. So we'll assign an average commander. Let's look at our divisions here. This is part of a new class, the Awati. And it's at 20 knots. Trying to think. The Tsukishimas are most recent, but that's almost a full division that we have there. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm looking at heavy cruisers. So frankly, this can just go into the cruiser division with the other heavy cruisers. Speed is the same for all of them. So we'll go ahead and add them to the division. That's good news. A result as well that we had from the war was a number of our ships, the crew quality increased to elite or good, which was a positive because we actually got a lot of combat experience during the war with China in those couple of battles we had. And the Awati is now commissioned as well. So, oh my goodness. So tensions with Russia increased because of our taking over of North Korea. But then they reduced due to the recent war that occurred in the area. And tensions with China increased twice due to historical differences and our people being upset that they control Formosa. Okay. So here's a little lesson, right? Is our people, this is the 3rd time now they've been upset that China has Formosa. And it's not like we're facing unrest over it or anything like that. If we negotiate a peace with China where we gain territories, we don't want to necessarily take Formosa because we want to continue to have Formosa be an ignition of conflict between our nations to continue to rise tensions as we look for wars with China to grow our own sphere of influence. And they have stopped construction on another battleship due to financial difficulties. So that's positive. Let's assign a commander to the Awati now. We'll do this last remaining average quality captain and put them in the same division. There we go. Now have 1,000 positive in funds. So let's unlock or resume the construction of this cruiser here, which puts us just about even monthly in our budget. We're having difficulty with destroyers of 400 tons displacement. Great Britain finished off the rebels in Singapore. Russia tensions are reduced. That's positive. Again, tensions with China increased because of Formosa. This is looking good. I would love another war here with China now. And let's look at all relations and see China. Oh, okay. Well, they are really only, they only have a problem with us, is the short story there. Makes me feel a little special, I suppose. Let's continue onward here. The Zuma finished working up. A colonial crisis with China has arisen. We need budget. So let's choose this middle option because we get the same amount of budget. The only difference is we don't get the extra prestige. And I don't want to lower tension. So we're fine with tensions going up. I just really want budget first. Another battleship they've had to halt construction on. Okay. So this might be a good time here for a conflict with China. Let's look at the almanac. So our budget has now surpassed them. At the beginning of the episode, we were behind. And our fleet tonnage has started to catch up now that we've had some of those ships commissioned. Okay. So that's all very positive news. I think with that, we can probably, we should look here and see. I don't think North Korea is going to have any fortifications as we had just taken it over. It does not. So we're going to use the budget surplus we have right now to build 4 4-inch batteries. Well, actually, let's do 3 4-inch batteries. And then we're going to do 2 6-inch batteries. A little stronger there, as that's more likely to be a conflict or invasion target for our enemies. All right, another round of fighting broken out in the Balkans. Yeah, let's just do the we'll do the first one. It's deplorable that they're fighting. Let's see. China just increased their naval budget, so I spoke too soon on the budgets, I suppose. Our tensions with Russia are now equal to the tensions that we have with China. That is not ideal, as we really don't want to fight in a war both nations. So we need to be mindful then to try to lower tensions with Russia. I would really like a war with China, but not necessarily the same can be said with Russia. Okay, lots of tension changes here. France is reduced, Russia increases, and then it also reduces again, so it just stays the same. And Spain reduces because there's no areas of conflict. Russia invented and improved shipbuilding steel, and Spain has unlocked loading mechanization. All right, it's fine. Go ahead to the next month here. Southern Korea, let's take it. Okay, so in one episode, I skipped past it, sorry, we made an advance in turret and gun mountings. I think it was the same mechanization that we just saw Spain had done. Yeah. Trying to halt the construction of another heavy cruiser. So, good news, bad news. We have now occupied the entire Korean peninsula. That's the good news. The bad news is at any moment, war is going to break out with China or Russia. And when war breaks out, it is very likely that the other nation will also declare war due to the tensions that are in the region. Oh my. A war with China, we could handle, I think, quite handily. A war with Russia, I think we could handle. It would be more difficult. A war with both of them is probably not a winnable situation. Regardless, we will maintain our focus and build fortifications here in South Korea. We will do 4 in South Korea just due to some of the budget constraints we're now facing. So that has been done. We had a cruiser here lose a commander, it looks like. So let's replace them. And we have an average commander, 2 average commanders available. All right. All right. So in 4 turns, we get another heavy cruiser. In 8 months, we get another battleship. And that brings us to a pretty decent battleship squadron of 3 battleships with 4 13-inch guns. We really need some events to reduce tension now, though. There's been an internal upheaval in Angola. Germany's trying to restore order. What do we recommend? So we're going to do, that's pretty far away, isn't it? And try not to increase tensions whatsoever. We're having difficulty with watertight integrity. I feel like watertight integrity should be a core concept by the 1890s of how ships stay afloat and don't sink, but perhaps I'm reading too much into the summary. So Russia's having some technology difficulty with melanite. Great Britain increases their budget. That's lovely. Russia increases their budget. And China has commissioned more corvettes. All right. Let's see. Next month. China has a majority of their heavy ships in active status. What should we do? So we can mobilize all of our ships, which increases tension. Send a note suggesting that we try to, care about peace and stability, or we just kind of ignore the situation. Well, let's give it a try to reduce tensions, because again, a war with Russia and China would be quite bad for us. China ignored our note. Thank you. That's nice. Russia has approached us about curbing our naval program in the interest of peace and stability. So a reduction of tension would be welcome. Let's do it. What? We didn't get any reduction in tension. I should have looked at the messages that we had there one moment. Was there another event that caused tensions to go up? No? So the event said that we would actually lower tension. However, it appears that did not happen. But now we have a smaller naval budget. Okay. So North Korea fortifications have been completed. And shipyards are offering to build an Awati heavy cruiser at a 10% discount. I don't think that would be prudent at this time, as we still have another one we haven't not resumed construction of. So we'll pass up that offer regrettably. Oh, and there's a slump in the economy, leading to widespread unemployment and poverty, as well as cutbacks in military spending. So I don't think there's anything that reduces well, this one increases tension, so I don't think we want that. We can encourage the charities to give relief to the poor, or we can consider social reforms. Generally, the social reforms help when our unrest level's high. However, we have no unrest, so we're going to choose the option to suggest charities help out in the situation. Russia commissioned some new ships. China has halted more construction of more ships. That's interesting. All right. Russia tensions finally decreased just ever so slightly, and we had a commander get promoted to captain, which means we now need to replace this commander. And we have an average. Well, we're going to go, they have the special trait of being timid, so we're going to replace them as just a light cruiser. And then here we actually have another light cruiser where we can assign a new commander. And we'll take a gamble on some of these to learn what their skills are. We have next month a heavy cruiser wrapping up, and then 5 months until the next Fuso class battleship is ready. New docks have been completed, and the heavy cruiser Kasuga is commissioned. Spy from Russia has been discovered. We do not want to increase tension, so we will handle it quietly and discreetly. Commander Yokoyama has been shown himself to be of brilliant ability. Well, that's positive. That's really good news. Going to increase dock size once more. Probably do it again after that too. I shouldn't say once more. The Kasuga needs a commander. And we have this above average captain that we can put on the Kasuga, who needs to be added to the division here for heavy cruisers. Oh, okay, so we're at max for heavy cruisers in that division. So let's do this then. We'll go to the division editor in our cruiser division. And we will take... Let's take the Asama class out of this division. And we'll make a new division with them. But we will add the Kasuga. There we go. That's good. So we're going to do a new heavy cruiser division, the second cruiser division. And we will add the Asama class heavy cruisers to that. We will assign a commander. Let's do this guy. He's average ability, but he is a rate of fire enthusiast. Seems exciting. And let's now set the role for this division. Now the other one we have being core to the battle division. I think we will set these guys to be independent with the second battle division as their lead. Okay, so that's been done. We now have a budget surplus again. So let's resume construction on the Awati, which puts us at a deficit of about 1,500. Well, no, excuse me. That puts us at a deficit of 400. Now, slightly unexpectedly, we find ourselves in the position of needing to think about what to build next now that all of these ships that we had halted construction on are starting to finish. I think let's look at designing a new battleship. And we will actually... Germany's only 12,000. Italy's pretty low. I just worry about the Great Britain tension being a little higher. We'll stick with them, though. Frankly, if war comes with Great Britain, we have much larger problems than losing a battleship in their yards. So let's simulate a design of battleship. That has 13-inch guns. Let's see what else we get here. Oh, so we got a bit of an error there. Let's try it once more. In 13-inch guns, I think this is a little closer to the mark, though. So we'll set it to 15,000 displacement. Are different guns available? Nope, we just have 13-inch unlocked. So if we just have 13-inch guns unlocked, I'm not certain that we need to actually... Let's actually just order another Fuso. I think that would be more appropriate. So we're going to order another Fuso to be built with Great Britain, the Asahi. It'll be done in 25 months. We're going to run negative here for a little bit, but we should finish okay. Oh, normally this is a pretty exciting event to take up. So young officers have come up with this innovative plan to blow up one of the capital ships of Russia at anchor. You are asked to give the plan a go-ahead. I'm not doing this because of the underhanded tricks and how those are below the establishment of our Navy. Rather, I don't want war with Russia. So we will deter them from such action. Still have problems with watertight integrity. Feels like the basics, guys. Come on. A lot of battleships commissioned and laid down across the world. Let's go another month here. We finished the fortifications in southern Korea, so that's nice. Oh, so tensions reduced with China 3 times, but then increased once, so it should be a net decrease of 2. And Spain continues to decrease. It's looking like maybe war will come with Russia instead of China. Would much prefer war with China, if we're honest. Let's just take a quick peek at what Russia has. Now, the interesting thing, too, that should be said about Russia and a war with them is they will have their fleet split between Europe and the Pacific. And you can see, actually, that right now, about half of their fleet is in Northeast Asia, which is more than I would have expected. They have a lot of battleships, though. Look at all of these battleships that they have. The concerning part is, unlike China, a number of them are this, I'm guessing stands for Emperor Alexander class. Second, yeah. So 11,000 tons. They have 4 12-inch guns in them. So you compare that to our 4 13-inch guns and 14,500 tons. We still have supremacy, but it's not quite the same as going up against these Chinese battleships that have 7,000 tons of displacement or 8,000 tons of displacement, and are thus the 2 knots slower and probably with a little less armor. So it's a much more challenging situation when they're fielding those battleships. Also, they far outnumber us in heavy cruisers, like just all across the board. So we can actually look at the summary here. So we have 140,000 in fleet tonnage. They have 444,000. So, I mean, they have 3 times our fleet tonnage, twice our naval budget. 22 battleships with a further 6 being built. I don't want war with Russia. I want war with China. Let's be perfectly clear about that. Kasuga finished working up. And we got the blueprints for a Chinese ship, the Yangwu, currently under construction. So it's got 8-inch guns, pretty standard, 6 of them. 4 inches of belt, again, pretty normal. And goes at 20 knots, so there's really nothing to write home about here. 12 5-inch, yeah, pretty standard. We have temporary setbacks in improved turret construction. Let's see. Chinese Navy is putting their doctrine efforts into gunnery training. Great Britain tensions reduced, Spain is reduced, China is reduced due to our recent war. Russia was reduced too, I must have missed that though. Next month we have the next ship in the Fuso class being commissioned, that's nice. And we've managed to get the blueprints of a Chinese battleship, the Wuchang, currently under construction. So here, again, 7,000 tons, 10-inch guns. Please, please give me a war with China. I don't want a war with Russia. Russia, tensions reduced. China, tensions reduced. All the tension is reduced. And all I want is higher tension and a war to increase our budget. Looks like they also have another battleship with 9.5 inches of armor. China, that is. Russia increased their naval budget as well. Great. We are now running a budget surplus, which makes it feel like we should go spend some money, but we will hold off just a little bit. I think as the heavy cruiser works down a little bit here in its time remaining, we will look at either producing a new class of light cruisers or destroyers, I think. We have more tensions reduced with Russia, though, so that's a positive. Just wish the tensions would go up with China. The Spanish have invented telescopic sights. China's halting construction of more ships. Let's look actually real quick. The almanac. We don't actually have anybody building destroyers yet. Go another month here. One of our agents has been caught in China. Let's make them a national hero and get those tensions up. Got a prestige point out of it too. No budget though. Still at $109,000 a year. Battleships finished working up. Mozambique, there's upheaval. Germany's trying to take over. And that is pretty far away. They've taken over control of Mozambique. Spanish have invented improved armor-piercing shot design. Spanish are having a few technology successes here, if we're being honest. Let's take a look at that almanac again. We are now backward. We're not even behind. We are backward when it comes to technology. And that is so heavily driven by, well, one, our budget, but also we've had some bad luck, I think, with some of these technology advancements. France is behind. China is behind. Very interesting. Go ahead to the next turn. And we get more funding to the Navy. Thank you. How much more is the question? And scientists have more problems with watertight integrity. Gotta be freaking kidding me. Let's see. Everybody else is getting raises in their budget. And tension with USA is reduced. We got $7,000 more a year. Well, that's not nothing, I suppose. Give it probably 2 more months here till we design a new ship. So, okay, so there was an economic crisis globally. So hopefully this then sees budgets start to rise, at least our budget, I hope. A spy from Russia has been discovered. We will handle it quietly and discreetly. And we've gotten blueprints for the Spanish ship, the Reina Cristina, heavy cruiser. 7-inch guns and only 2 of them, so that's pretty light. 4-inch armor, normal, 5,000 tons. I would love a war with Spain as well. All right. We got another $2,000 here, probably from the economy recovering in our budget. Every little bit helps. Colonial crisis with China has arisen. Yes. We must safeguard our interests. Let's raise that tension as high as we can. Good. Okay, excellent. We're getting pretty close to the possibility of a war with China then. We also got another $8,000 in our annual budget. So this is good. We need to assign the Shikishima to a division, though. I had missed doing that. So we're going to put them in the Fuso division with the other Fuso battleships. Now, with that, let's go ahead and design, well, let's think about this. We have 5 months until we have new docks available, which would then be 12,000 dock size. And when we look at the fleet composition that we have now, let's look at research. What guns have we unlocked? So we do have up to 11-inch guns. I'm wondering if we do some 9-inch heavy cruisers instead of opting for more battleships. Yes, let's do some 9-inch heavy cruisers, I think. Although, does the Wati design really need to be improved upon? It's already 4 9-inch guns at 7,000 tons. That's respectable at 5 inches of belt. Yeah, no, let's just build Another 2 Awati class. I think that's appropriate. Excellent. U.S. government is offering to sell us the rights to fire-controlled telescopic sights. We need that technology because we are a backwards people at the moment. We need to increase our research. Spain increased naval spending. Great Britain increased naval spending. For the next month here, managed to get the blueprints to the Cardinal Jimenez. I can't pronounce the rest of that. I'm sorry. That's quite the lengthy name as well. 8-inch guns. That's a little more respectable, but only 3 inches of belt. And they only have 2 8-inch guns. Spain seems like it'd be so easy. Have a breakthrough. We now have Harvey armor. Well, that's very positive. And we are very close to improved shipbuilding steel. We're having a bit of a turnaround here on the research front. That's positive. Very positive. Apparently our 6-inch guns are superior to Chinese guns of the same caliber. More good news. And Great Britain is getting complaints they have too few cruisers. I really doubt they don't have enough cruisers, but anyways. 2 more turns until we have a heavy cruiser commissioned. And that should bring our budget back into balance. Let's look to see if we're still classified as backwards. Nope, we're now just behind. And really, I think this is getting distorted because of how far advanced Great Britain is, which does follow, a bit of a historical accuracy. So that's not terribly unexpected. Maybe France and Germany, though, had at this time kept up a little more to them. But okay, a little more comfortable with that then. Next month, spy from the USA has been discovered. We get budget if we give it maximum publicity, so let's do that. And we now have 12-inch guns. That's really good news because that will really help with domestic battleship production. To at least have some domestic battleships built that are, in parity with many of our rivals, even if maybe it's not superior like the 13-inch that we have from Great Britain. That's still really good news. And Italy's having some research trouble with turrets. China increased budget. All right. That's good. 1 month left here on this heavy cruiser. Let's actually... Do we want another battleship or do we want another heavy cruiser? Let's do one more Fuso battleship. Oh, nope, we need a new design, probably. Yeah, it's starting to get a little dated. And actually, now that I think about it, we had a lot of technology advancements there that would, subtly help with the ship itself. So let's wait 2 turns. We're getting increased docks, which means we'll have 12,000 tons for dock size. And then we'll design our first domestic battleship. Heavy cruisers commissioned. Having some difficulty with turret construction. So the ship class battleship Russia has 12.5 inches of turret armor. Belt armor of 12.5 inches and turret armor of 12 inches. Their heavy cruiser has 4 inches of armor at 19 knots, so a little slower. Okay. One of our divisions, the Rear Admiral, has left the service. So let's go here to this Fuso and assign a new commander. Let's take this above average captain. And here to this new Awati heavy cruiser, let's assign a commander. And I think we will just assign this average commander. Our division editor, let's see. So we need a new leader of the 2nd Light Cruiser Division. We will assign a commander there. Let's see what we've got. Could do average. Let's do this average that's also a gunnery expert. think that's appropriate. And the heavy cruiser we will put to a division. And that would be the division with the Tokiwa. All right. Got another month here until the docks are completed. Oh, private shipbuilding increased as well. Oh, that timing is just perfect. So now actually we have 13,000 dock size. Boom times, windfall and tax revenues. Strength of the Navy, increase tension prestige budget. Or we can increase budget with investing some of it into the long-term prosperity of the nation. I'm almost always a proponent of this option because especially early in the game, I would like to believe, I haven't actually looked at this or seen confirmation or anything, but I'd like to believe that this then does increase the strength of the rest of our economy. And then as our budget scales with our economy, it pays much greater dividends long term to have a healthier economy. So we're going to do this one. All right. And that increases our budget to 138,000. We now have new docks ready. So let's just close out the episode by designing a new battleship. Oh, excuse me. New battleship. And no, we want something with more than 7,000 tons. Getting closer. Let's see if we can use this as a framework. Want this to be 12-inch guns. Okay, so we have some space here. Our Fuso class goes 16 knots, so this is already going faster. Belt coverage we want to be normal, not narrow. What else do we have going on? It has 14 6-inch guns, 10 3-inch. I'm going to decrease those slightly, because I'm a little less of a fan of being super heavy on our secondaries and such on our battleships. Might be a controversial take, but the belt armor is probably the greatest opportunity. We are covered, though, with that much belt armor at all of these ranges if our enemies have 12-inch guns. How close actually is it? So we need 6.5 at point blank range to cover 12-inch guns. Probably about 7.5 for 13 and what have you. Let's maybe go up to 9.5, and can we get another knot out here? We can, so that's 18 knots. That's very good. Yep. I think this is good. We're going to leave a little bit of extra weight remaining too. All right, let's do that. Let's pick a name here for this class. That way I can maybe pronounce it a little bit better. Let's do the Kai class. So we'll save and finish. Okay. It's going to cost 3,200 and take 3 months. That's fine. That's very exciting. And we've got a little bit of a budget surplus to run for the next 3 months until that's completed. And then we'll have the last of the Fusos completed in 11 months, a couple of heavy cruisers done in a year and a half. Things are looking up. War with China is on the horizon. We, in this episode, without a war, have taken North and South Korean territories. We have the Korean Peninsula, as we've, in air quotes here, doubled our territories. We've also built coastal fortifications on 3 of our 4 areas. So I think all in all, that was a very successful episode, especially considering the grim tones that I led with and my disappointments from the outcome of the war with China. And about halfway through the concerns we had of a war with China and Russia, I think we're actually positioned quite decently now to go into episode 6 with some optimism. We'll just say, of course, any questions or feedback, please do leave them in the comments section below. All of you are so amazing that to put those comments in there, and I do try to reply as quickly as I can to them, but to be honest, I'm not necessarily looking at them every day. Just want to reiterate again and again and again, thank you all the support for the channel and the content we're creating here. And please do go support these developers and these fantastic games that I don't think get enough attention. With that, strategy gamers, hoping you have yourselves an excellent day. Bye now.